Is this the end of DEI? President Trump has his way. The answer is yes. Let's dive into what he has done so far. This week, President Trump signed an executive order rescinding Lyndon Johnson's executive order. I think Lyndon Johnson, we're going way back here, which established affirmative action banning all federal contractors and publicly funded universities from practicing race-based discrimination, including DEI. No more racial discrimination. This is fantastic. This is the country that we thought we were living in, right? Or we should be living in. A country where there is no officially sanctioned racism, where people are not treated differently based upon skin color. That is exactly what President Trump is trying to achieve here. Anti-whiteness as a matter of public policy has gone on far too long in America. That's what it is. And it's also, to be clear, anti-Asianness as well. You look at what's gone on with applications to colleges and government contracting and all this. Sorry, no more of this. It is absolutely critical. And in addition to this, President Trump has directed all federal diversity, equity, and inclusion staff to be put on leave, and they will be laid off. These people are not doing, anybody who works in a DEI field, they are not doing anything that is helpful or productive for society. They are actually dividing us. They are undermining core tenets and principles of American society. And it is about time that Republicans came in and said, that's it. We're done with this garbage. It's all garbage. Diversity, equity, inclusion. This is all race communism. Trump is ending race communism as a matter of federal policy, and it is a beautiful thing to see. And I also have to say that when he there's other aspects of this that are going to come into play, but getting rid of all these different loopholes for federal contractors too, and the entire DEI apparatus, you have to see that this puts pressure on the entire institution to move away from meritocracy and move toward race communism, gender communism. And I know people say, well, it's not communism because communism, but no, communism is just a religion of malcontents pretending there's some scientific and equality basis for them being in power and telling you what to do. That's what it actually is in action. They can say whatever they want about the theories of Karl Marx. But this is like people say, oh, you say they're communists, but communists aren't rich. Really? Really? Communists aren't rich? Who runs China? Chinese Communist Party. Are they poor? Interesting. Was Castro poor? Are communists the ones that run things, are they ever poor? No, they're actually incredibly rich. Isn't that so interesting? This is, I don't want to get too into the semantics of this. The point is, this has been a corrupt and disgraceful chapter of American public policy when it comes to race, when it comes to gender, when it comes to all these different things. And, this person should get the nod because they should get the job, they should get the contract, they should get, and you have to also tiptoe around whatever their ever-changing feelings are about terminology and about pronouns. And isn't it just amazing that we can step away from this finally, and we don't have to all be held prisoner to this madness? Isn't it a beautiful thing that we can find ourselves now turning around and saying, no, sanity is returning to America? There's another example of this, which is the flag policy of the United States, which now for embassies abroad, this is astonishing, isn't it? Embassies abroad have been flying LGBTQ plus flags. They've been flying BLM flags. No, I don't want any of that. I want the American flag from federal government buildings. That is it. That beautiful red, white, and blue. That is the only flag that I want to see flying at American embassies abroad. And now that policy has changed as well. But just think about that. They're flying BLM flags. BLM is a movement rooted in lies that resulted in more murders because of what it did to policing across America, which was all rooted in the lie that policing is so racist. BLM is, as a movement, the enemy of public order, of law and order, of public decency. Is awful. Nothing but downside. They were putting that up on embassies, and the trans flag, the trans inclusive flag now. Sorry, we don't all have to be a party to lies. Men cannot become women. Women cannot become men, and we don't have to pretend that they can. So these are all excellent executive orders, and we're just seeing the beginning of this too, because there's going to have to be an enforcement phase. The people who did this stuff have to be held accountable for it. Yes, accountability should be coming as well. But our sponsor here is Preborn. The team at the Preborn clinics across the U.S. make it their mission to save the lives of unborn children. Every location is specifically in an area where abortion rates are high because Preborn wants to give moms-to-be another option, life. They provide pregnant women an opportunity to meet their baby via ultrasound for free. Because so often when mom meets that baby via ultrasound, sees the movements within her, hears the heartbeat, it makes all the difference. If that mother was contemplating an abortion for her child, making that emotional connection very often leads to the decision for life, which is the best decision. For just $28, you can help save the life of an unborn child. 100% of your donation goes to saving lives. To donate, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, say baby, or go to preborn.com/buck. That's preborn.com/BUCK. Sponsored by Preborn. Now, my friends, something else. Federal employees now having to go into the office and acting like this is some kind of awful, this is some sort of horrific situation that Trump has put. I think people are shocked that federal employees aren't all going into an office. And a vast majority of them aren't going in at all. Maybe a day a week or every 2 weeks or something. They get paid to pretend to work at home. And it's not just their salary. Keep in mind the federal benefits that they have. I mean, this is just a scam on the American people. I got to tell you, if your job is so lax that you don't have to be in an office as a federal government employee, what really are you doing most of the time? For national security people, this doesn't change anything because they can't do classified work from home unless they have a SCIF, which very few people do. SCIF is a secure compartmented information facility, if you're wondering. It's where you can legally handle classified information. Depends on what it is, up to a certain level. But this is it's a change in mentality, which is that the taxpayers are supposed to be served by the public servants. And I agree with my friend David Harsanyi when he says he doesn't like this term public servant, because they're really not generally serving the public. They're serving usually one interest within the federal bureaucracy and themselves. They work on one thing. People that work at the EPA, for example, they're often climate zealots who want to, get their maximum pay and benefits working on their pet issue. That's serving the public, not in any meaningful way. So the fact that people are going to be going into the office now is, I think, a good thing. There's even reporting that they may sell off a lot of federal real estate across the country. What also should happen? The federal government should auction off, and states should be allowed to buy it if they want to for state purposes, but they should auction off. We own the federal government. The federal government owns so much land out west. What is it doing with that land? I'm not talking about national parks. I just mean land that they own, that nothing is happening on. Why is that the case? There are states where there's a huge percentage of the overall territory of the state owned by the federal government. Well, what's that all about? That doesn't make any sense. And we have all these office buildings everywhere, and they're now effectively empty. I love it. They keep saying, oh, my gosh, half of federal employees are going to quit. Yeah, that's the point. A lot of them might quit. And then that gets a lot easier to cut down the size of the federal bureaucracy, doesn't it? We got a couple of million people working the federal government. It's insane. It's insane, and people recognize it's insane. I'm spending my time out at SHOT Show this week so I can be with our friends at Bear Creek Arsenal, the formerly best-kept secret in the firearms industry. They actually aren't really a secret anymore because of this show and some other shows, but this show mostly. Bear Creek Arsenal makes fantastic firearms, unbeatable prices, too. When you see the prices that they have on these firearms, you're going to say to yourself, my gosh, I didn't know I could get a top-quality 9mm pistol for that price, a top-quality AR-15 for that price. And they're real gun guys. There are other gun companies that I've talked to in the past, and they said, we would love to advertise on your show, but we're scared that it might upset the Democrats if we do. Really? You're a gun company? You're scared of upsetting Democrats? Yeah. Not Bear Creek Arsenal. They stand with the Second Amendment, with the 2A community. They're the real deal. And they're well on their way to becoming a leader in firearms innovation as well. All made here in North Carolina. I've been to their factory. I know these guys. They're fantastic. Go to bearcreekarsenal.com. Make sure you sign up for your newsletter, for their newsletter while you're there. That's bearcreekarsenal.com. And then there is so much more that I want to. Oh, President Trump pardoning William Ulbricht, the founder of the Silk Road dark web marketplace, serving multiple life sentences. This isn't it interesting? The only people the Democrats, whether it's J6 or Ross Ulbricht, the only people the Democrats want to let out of prison are murderers, rapists, and people who do really bad things. They want clemency for them, but people who are treated horribly, especially by the federal government, and who didn't do anything that was either that bad or that was bad enough to justify a life sentence in prison. Democrats have no mercy for them whatsoever, do they? It's all about politics for them, because politics is actually the Democrats' religion. And once you understand that the religion of Democrats is politics, then everything else falls into place. And that's a takeaway for you all today. Thanks for hanging. Talk to you more tomorrow. Shields high.